How's it going, guys? And today I'm bringing you my operator analysis on Mira. So Mira has two primaries, one being the Vector 45 ACP or the ITA 12L. So first I'm going to start off talking about the Vector. The Vector is actually a really good gun. It has a crazy fire rate of 1200. Also, the Vector has a really manageable recoil pattern, but the two biggest flaws about the Vector is that it's really weak with 23 damage and the magazine size is pretty small for how fast it shoots. But since it does shoot really fast, you could easily get headshots with it. But you do need to keep an eye on the magazine because sometimes you'll be running out of ammo before you even expect it. Now moving on to the ITA 12L. So this shotgun is a pump action shotgun, but Mira does shoot it pretty quick. And on top of that, this gun has the biggest caliber size I've seen on a shotgun. So you can utilize this shotgun to make kill holes or entryways towards an objective or around it. And for the actual damage of the shotgun, I'm feeling it's kind of weaker than other shotguns like the Supernova. I mainly say this because sometimes it takes 2 shots to kill a person up close. Or if I shoot them really up close, it just downs the person, it doesn't actually kill them. Overall, I think the shotgun is kind of average. It's great for utilizing kill holes and entryways, but besides that, I don't think it's the best shotgun to kill enemies with. So when it comes to picking these two, I always go with the Vector because it does have that versatility of having long range battles, and on top of that, it shoots really fast. For my attachments for the Vector, I do put a compensator on it because it does shoot really fast, and for my sights, I do use a holographic sight, and of course, I always stick to vertical grip. Now for Mira's secondary, you have two choices, which is the USP-40 or the ITA 12S. So Mira's USP-40 is actually a really good pistol. It has really good damage, and on top of that, it has a decent magazine size. As for her ITA 12S, it actually is the shorter version of her primary, but it does have a lot more damage with a highly reduced range. Also, since the gun has a shorter barrel, it actually doesn't make big holes like her primary, so you can't really utilize it to make kill holes or entryways. But despite that, I always pick the ITA as her sidearm because you never know when you're going to be in a close quarter combat. So having that ITA with you kind of helps you out sometimes. And also besides Jackal, she's really the only operator that can carry a shotgun as a sidearm. So for Mira's gadget, she has a nitro cell or a deployable shield, and there's really no reason not to pick a nitro cell. Like I said in past videos, a nitro cell can do much more for you than a deployable shield can. So for that very simple reason, that's why you should always pick nitro cell. So Mira's special ability is her black mirror. Basically, what the black mirror is a one-way mirror that could only be destroyed with a bonded charges or a thermite charge. So whatever side you're facing when you're placing the mirror is the side that you can see through, and the other side is just a pitch black reflection. Mirror does get 2 per round, and you could place it either in the crouching position or the standing position. So one really important thing to note about the black mirror is that you could only place it on the side that the actual reinforced wall is on. So basically where the metal texture is. So when placing the black mirrors, you gotta really pay attention where the enemies come from. So if you guys have a window at the objective, it's best not to place the black mirror right in front of it because the enemy could easily shoot the canister and open up that mirror. So if the enemy team does have a twitch, you could use her drone to shoot down the canisters of the black mirror. So you really gotta watch out for those twitch drones. The best way to handle them is just to stand in front of the canister so she can't shoot it. And then you could easily shoot her drone out. One last thing I'm going to mention about the black mirrors is that bandits batteries actually won't destroy it, so it's fine placing it on walls that have bandit charges. So now I'm going to be talking about Mira's role in the team. She is a 3 armored operator with those black mirrors. She's obviously supposed to stay in the objective. Also, given the weapon she has, she's not the best for long distance battle, especially ones outside the objective. Because if you want to challenge somebody like Ash with the Vector at 20 meters away, most likely you're going to lose that battle. The Vector is not really a long range weapon, it's really for close quarter combat. So that's why I suggest always being inside the objective. So when it comes to using the black mirrors inside the objective, you gotta be really patient with it. Don't be baited into destroying it. For example, if a person tries teabagging right in front of you, or they use their drone right in front of the mirror, they're obviously trying to make you break it to sabotage your team, so you shouldn't fall for it. So usually when I do destroy the mirrors, I always wait until there's a distraction. For example, if your teammate tries coming in for a flank, they're obviously not gonna look at you, they're gonna look at your teammate. At that point, you could destroy the canister and try getting an easy kill. So one tactic I really like using with the black mirrors is having a teammate shoot it out for me and I come and peek the enemy from another side. That way they're not looking at me when I come to kill them. It basically acts like a distraction for your enemy, that way you could get an easy peek on them. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is placing a black mirror on a non-reinforced wall. I really don't recommend doing this because an enemy could easily destroy the actual mirror. It could just take one ash charge or a sledgehammer to break that mirror, so it's really not worth it. One good tactic I do suggest doing though is placing a black mirror on a reinforced wall that's right next to a non-reinforced wall. So what you should do with the non-reinforced wall is basically make a line of kill holes. You look at your enemy through the black mirror and then you peek them through those line of kill holes so you could get easy headshots. And most times if you try picking your enemy this way, you are going to get a kill most likely because you do have that peeker's advantage. So now I'm going to be talking about some mistakes people make while they play Mira. So the first mistake on the list is actually pretty big. It could really fuck over your team if you do it. And the first mistake is not telling your teammates when the black mirror is broken. And the reason this is such a big mistake is because if you break that black mirror and you don't tell your teammates about it, they have no idea a hole's there and the enemy could easily just pick them off. Also, another thing relating to this, if a Twitch drone shoots it, you gotta tell your teammates about it because they most likely don't know about it. And if they don't know, the same thing's gonna happen. They are gonna get shot through that hole and you'll probably lose 1 or 2 teammates before they even notice. So the second mistake on the list would have to be placing a black mirror in a bad location. So what I mean by this is basically when you place a black mirror, you want to really help out the team and not negatively affect them. So a key to this is placing a black mirror away from any sightline of the enemy. So if there's a window in the objective that the enemy can safely peek and shoot that canister. So the best way to handle this is placing the black mirror away from any sightlines through windows. Also, another really important thing to note is that when you place your black mirrors, you want to place it in areas a lot of enemies go through. So a perfect example of this would have to be placing the black mirror where the stage is on Oregon and having the mirror basically see everybody come through the tower. Another good idea would have to be placing the black mirrors in front of walls that lead down hallways. Now for the last mistake on the list, it would have to be getting baited into opening your mirror. I see this very often when I play with randoms. They see an enemy teabagging the mirror or they start trying to hit the mirror, so our teammate decides to break it. And once a teammate does that, basically your window of opportunity to use that black mirror for an offensive side is kind of gone. And at that point, you basically just have a hole inside the objective and it gets a lot harder to defend. So what I suggest doing is only breaking it once the enemy has their attention pulled away from you. An example of this would be if your teammate decides to pull a flank and then a gunfight breaks out. While all that noise is happening, you could easily break the mirror and get an easy kill. Now I'm going to be rating Mira on 3 things, which is loadout, gadget, and team efficiency. For Mira's loadout, I am going to give her an 8 out of 10. I do really like the Vector. The only real issue I have with it is that it runs out of ammo pretty quickly because of that fire rate. But overall, I think it's a really good submachine gun. Now as for Mira's shotgun, I think that shotgun's kind of average. It doesn't really have a wow factor to it. It has really average damage and range. The one special thing I did like about this shotgun is it actually makes pretty big holes. And this could be really useful in some maps like House. So one really cool thing about Mira's loadout is that she gets a shotgun as a sidearm, which is really cool. It could be really handy sometimes, especially in close quarter combat. And one last thing to mention about her loadout is that she does get nitro sub, which is really handy in any situation. And you could also utilize it with those black mirrors. That's why adding all these things up, she gets an 8 out of 10 for her loadout. Now for Mira's gadget, she's gonna get an 8 out of 10. So I really like the whole idea of the black mirrors. So what I really like about the black mirror is that it could really come in handy, especially if you're trying to peek your enemies. Also, it's really handy to see exactly where the enemy is pushing from. But besides that, there is a huge flaw to the black mirror, which is the canisters. Those canisters could either do one thing, really help you or really fuck over your team. It's really annoying when a Twitch drone sneaks inside the room and shoots that canister down, because at that point you just have the room really open. It's really easy to get killed from attackers. But if you do have a mute on your team or you're able to kill both the Twitch drones, having those black mirrors could really help out the team. And that's why Mira gets an 8 out of 10 for her gadget. Now for Mira's team efficiency, I'm gonna have to give her an 8 out of 10. Her gadget really is a team-based gadget. Everybody in the defensive side could use it. In most maps it is really useful, but in some maps it doesn't really make a difference. The mirror could also negatively affect your team because if a Twitch drone breaks it and the enemy starts shooting your teammates from that mirror hole, it could really damage your team. I think the gadget itself is really underrated. Knowing exactly where the attacking team is going to push from is really important when you're defending. So that's why overall this black mirror gets an 8 out of 10 for team efficiency. Adding all 3 scores up makes Mira's overall score an 8 out of 10. Well, that's the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed watching, hit that like button. Also, if you want more content like that, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Once again, guys, thanks for watching and see you next time.